focuses in on some of the grips and some of the things that are done in dagger. If you look at the manuscript, the Abrazare and the dagger sections really flow one into the other. You get some basic instruction and core principles in the Abrazare section, and then you get a lot of examples of it in the dagger. So we're going to be doing some of that. We'll go ahead and start with a couple of different exercises for that, and I'm going to jump right in rather than go through the warm-up. One of those things is going to be the element of controlling your partner's structure so that as you move through, you have them unbalanced and you remain balanced. Okay? So somebody tell me what's wrong. Let's go collar and elbow. Somebody tell me what's wrong with what I'm about to do.
I didn't
unbalance him. I moved in, okay? At that point, he actually has my balance and he could exploit it tremendously easily. Would you just exploit it once, please, okay? Yep. And I'm down, okay? So what I have to do in this situation is something very simple. First of all, I have to be in a good carriage here. I've got to be low. I've got to have some flex to my knees, lowered center of gravity. And then I've got to break his structure and raise his center of gravity. Over here, I'm raising it just slightly, okay? Now at this point, it's going to be easy for me to go ahead and move through and step in on him. And down he goes, okay? So that's our first exercise. Now, who is comfortable going to this ground and who is not? Comfortable? Not. Okay? So if you're not comfortable going to the ground, you'll tell your partner to stop at this position. Right there. Because then you can take the step from there. Okay? So let's get to particulars. Stand where you can see either on this side or that. I'm doing a couple of things. That right there. I am cutting this in as in a knife cut to the center like this. His elbow is passing his center line, passing his breastbone, and this is controlling his shoulder and taking it off, taking his structure off balance. His hips, or excuse me, his shoulders are no longer above his hips. I'm adding to that this back here, which disbalances him in the opposite direction and creates a turn. And also as I do it, I'm not pushing straight back, I'm creating a little bit of a lift as I do it, as I come in. Okay? So from here, I want you to start the exercise by doing 1, 2, 3, 4. Nice and easy. Okay? Should we see that again? 1. Okay? That's just my arm at this moment. Okay. 2. Also really just my arm at this moment. Watch my hips, don't watch my arms. 3. I've sunk and I've engaged my hips to come forward here, backward here, assisting these two motions. Then, my weight being centered, not loaded on the front foot, but centered, I can step behind him and we have a takedown at that point. Okay? Now in terms of the throw, allow your partner some latitude to find it. So as I come into it, here, I'm placing this and putting gentle pressure and following through as he goes to the ground. He accepts the throw. He accepts the throw. Questions? Okay, let's go ahead and partner up. Okay. So you're, think of it as a harness-based arc. You're going to be low like so. As you come through, you're going to then move without moving that rear foot. Okay. It turns out at the end, but it's placed while this one comes in for the throw. Let's just do a couple more of those each to get that feeling of the rear foot. Okay? Just a couple more. He can actually take it on me, and I can be the one to go down. So as he starts to resist in this exercise, okay, this is a little bit harder fall. Not good. Now let's look at what we're doing with it. Okay? I start this action. My legs haven't moved. If they've moved, I'm just hosed. Okay? I start this action. I get the resistance. He's strong. There's no sense fighting it. I'm going to come through. I'm going to make him look up at the sky like that. I'm going to step behind, and here's where we're going to be gentle. We're going to kind of let go of the chin and let our partner just take the fall. Okay? So we're not going to really wrench them around there. So set this up. Not as a 1, 2, 3 anymore, but just do this without your partner resisting. Get that feel and that set of your hips, lowering of the weight in there. and then your partner resists, and you feel that your weight drop is not helping, they're strong in their structure, this hand slides over, they look up there, up that way, and you step through, and down they go. And just let them go to the ground at this way.
Pretty up there.
It is pretty up there. We would be a little bit more vicious with that hand, in reality, than we are right now. We're really just getting the mechanic of it down here. Okay? Questions about that one? Again,
Behind you.
Yeah. Well, actually, that was more just me. It's kind of pretty. So are you going straight in, or are you just kind of also trying to unwind a little as you go?
let's look at the motion of the head. When I say turn and make him look at the sky up there, I'm getting the resistance. I'm going in a direct line across his arm. I'm not giving up this arm. I'm not doing this. Because he's got all kinds of possibilities there. So he's fighting me on that arm right there. I can't cut it through. I'm going to go across it, turn and make him look up, and step. And down he goes at that point.
Are you actually taking his balance with your hips?
I'm completing the picture at that point. His balance is really taken. Go ahead and resist. His balance is really taken there. Okay. At this point, I'm just going to complete the action as I go through. Yeah. Yeah, because he could stagger back if I don't do that. Okay. So we're here. I resist. I do this. I try to press him, and he steps back. Actually, step back and gain control. Okay. So trying this. We go for this. Uh-oh. I'm down. Okay. So we have to isolate the things he can still use against us, namely that leg. So once to unbalance him without resistance. Once he doesn't resist, remember what you're trying to do with your body. Okay? Then when he resists, no, go ahead, you can more of that. Okay? He resists, and through he goes. Okay? Other questions? Let's go ahead and do that. And then how we deal with resistance. If he's resisting me here, and I can't get this, it's really no use to keep trying, because that's just going to work to his advantage. Move in a different direction. Flow to another technique at that point. Okay? All right. Thank you. All right. Oh, actually, we're going to go into the formal Abrazare. Okay. So, can you just do the reach in and throw me to the ground action as you kind of get down on that side? Yeah. Actually, high this side, low that side, just to keep it formal. There we go. Okay. Okay. So, that's just standing in for a lot of things we could do at that point. Yeah, Jason likes it when you throw me.
I like that thing. Do that again.
Yeah. Long on this side. Here, okay? And down I go, okay? Just arrange to step with the same hand. We're going to keep the same hand-foot coordination. So as he comes in, I don't really want that to happen, so I'm going to stop it. This look familiar? Okay. So he's coming in. He's going for that throw, and I stop it. I'm going to come up under here. I'm going to catch this elbow, and this gambeson is great for it because you can see the elbow points to the sky. It's nice. Okay? I'm going to stop that hand because I don't want that doing any damage to me. And then once I've caught this elbow, I've got it wedged against my neck. I'm going to start cutting in this direction. And he's going to go to here. This is sufficient for our purposes today. We don't need to roll out of that. Question or?
No, I'm trying to figure out what you're doing with your hands.
We'll do it both sides of the, yeah, go ahead. So he's coming in to throw me. Stop the one hand, turn the elbow, and bring him through. I'm taking advantage of his momentum. He's coming at me. I could try to stop him, but if he's really strong, I could lose that. So instead of trying to stop his momentum, take advantage of it, him on the other side, and roll him through, bring him through. The key concept in this one is the arm control here. To get this, excuse me, my voice is breaking. Puberty can't be far off. Woo-hoo! To get this, don't come here, okay? Because you've got nothing, okay? Except his hand on your back, and he's going to counter you. And don't use your hand per se, because you know you're going to be grabbing at things that you're probably not going to get. Watch what I strike with. Okay? I am striking with the inside knife edge of my arm, so to say. Striking with the inside knife edge of my arm here. And I am taking my arm in so that the elbow is below where I'm striking so that I can actually turn it through. If I keep my elbow to the outside, That's not working. But under here, I can catch it and roll it through at that point. So, here's our setup. Let's go back to this side for a second. He's going to come in and disbalance you. It doesn't have to actually throw you. We just want to see you lose your balance, so you know that you're going to lose your balance, okay? He comes in, okay? If you feel like taking the fall, that's fine. Just go ahead and take me down, okay? You can take the fall also. Now, as he comes in, after that's happened, say 3 times, okay? Don't allow him to get there. Okay, now I've stopped him here in the demonstration, but what's really happening is I'm continuing through. Don't hang on to that arm, don't keep reaching for it. Once you've stopped it and you've got him well into the turn, you can release that, come up and assist on this hand. Again, stop him, but continue his momentum. So you're breaking the flow and structure of his attack, but letting his momentum continue. Questions? Okay, let's go ahead. And then you bring the engine to bear on it, okay? This is the winch, okay? This is just the hook. Hooks don't pull. Winches or push or whatever. Winches do, okay? I'm going to work on that analogy. All right, so now we're going to counter that. Do you want to execute the counter and drop me? Yeah, go ahead and execute the counter and drop me. So he's coming in. I'm going for this right here, but he executes a counter here. I'll tell you about this one in a minute where it comes from. He's actually bent his arm, he's cupped his hand behind my neck, and he's gone inside my arm and gotten a grip on it. And now where am I going?
Down.
Right there. Okay, right down to the ground. Okay. So, I'm going to narrate what he does. I'm still attempting this whole thing. And then, notice how his elbow's bent? I no longer have any possibility of controlling it there. He's got the back of my head cupped. He's got my hand here. He's going to basically bring the elbow through the center and the head down that way. And I go down. Okay, I've just landed at that point. Let's do the other side. Comes in, I'm attempting to control. We lose it, or I lose it rather. He's hooked the inside of my arm, cupped the back of my neck, okay? And down I go. Phone. I just lost my phone. Could you set that by my red mask, please? Thanks, man. So, does everybody see that? I want you to do it slowly. He comes in, get to here, stop. He's then going to bend his elbow. Okay? He brings his arm to the inside, gets control over those 2 points. Go ahead. And then brings them together. And he gets a bit of a volta stabile in there that throws me to the ground. Okay. Questions? First of all, I am trying to get this, and now I'm getting that. He's starting that whole pull. And he's going to go down for it. Okay? What's happening here, this I am trying. It's failing. But look where I have an opening, right? Something to work with right here. We've actually done this before today through this way, and we would in fact do a rather vicious strike into the throat and chin. Today we're placing it across the chest. Okay? I've got that. The other thing that's happening is I can't actually move this leg the way we did in the last one, but I still need to isolate a leg on it, don't I? What's he doing with this right here? Go ahead. He's pulling it to his leg. Okay? He's pulling it inside. And now I have this position, and I can take him down. Okay? So let's look at all the elements. He's trying to disbalance me. Okay? Throw me, whatever. That stands in for a lot of things that could happen. I don't want that to happen. I'm going to stop that and take advantage of the momentum and bring it through. Something we shouldn't fall on. Okay? He's ready to flow into something else. And so down I go. But I'm so brilliant. And I'm such a good fighter. That as it happens and I feel it, I can actually take advantage of it. Okay? And bring him down to the ground. So what I'd like you to do is this. 1. Doesn't have to be big. Just get that feeling. 2. Doesn't have to be big, just get that feeling. 3, we don't even necessarily have to do the fall here, okay? Just get that feeling. 4, let's go for the fall for everybody who's interested in it. Ask your partner first, please, okay? And when you get to it, let's go right to it. Instead of jacking their leg up and jacking them out, which is what you really want to do, you want that, okay? Just get them to the point where they've lost their balance and they can accept the fall. Like that. They can accept the fall. Clear? Question? Potential thing you can do. And you're not going to get there by trying to push through somebody's strength, even if you think they're weaker than you, okay? Because it'll be enough trouble that it's too much work, and basically you should be fundamentally lazy about these things and go for the easy one. You should find that place where it's easier, because where they're weak, you can be strong. All right, so you're always going to try to flow for those. So, questions about the exercise? About how it's done? Any questions of technical execution? Everybody get the idea of the flow from that? Okay, let's go ahead and move on now to daggers, which was, after all, the title in the website, though it was not the title I actually put in.
Don't you hate it when that happens?
I do, yeah. Okay. I just want to get these out of the way. All right, so let's look at the first master of dagger here. He's drawing and he's striking. A couple things I want to cover about the strike. Can you do the Janet Lee psycho in the shower thing? That's not what he's doing. Okay. Look at the tight, controlled nature of the strike. Okay. As he comes forward, that point is coming towards me and finding an opening. Okay. This is a Mandrita side strike. It's not in the center. There's nothing there in the center. If he was coming in the center, I would behave differently. You've seen those in the manuscript, okay? Apples of the various situations. He's coming that side, possibly to get under my globos, possibly get through my abdomen tail, possibly because he's just canny and thinks I can't defend it. Doesn't matter why. So as he comes in, I need to move into that attack. What's the first thing Fiore says about dagger defense?
Don't let him have a dagger.
Block it.
As soon as you become suspicious of someone's dangerous knife, both hands, arms, and elbows must immediately go in to do these 5 things. Take the dagger. Take the dagger. Disarm. Thank you, Jason. Disarm it. Break the arms, bind them, and put them into the ground. We're not going to do all those things at once today, but the idea is, don't wait for it. Is he really going to attack me? His hands on his head. Oh my gosh, he's really attacking me. Okay. He wants you to move into the attack as soon as it comes, so that you can start dealing with it. Okay? So our basic defense is going to be an accrescimento, not to the man, but to the dagger, because that's the problem right now. Okay? And already you can see I'm breaking his structure, because I'm pulling his arm back really beyond the plane of his chest here, if I can get that far, which puts him in a weak position. Now I want to do a couple things from here. I want to secure that dagger because he can still do something with it. So I'm going to come back here and start this process. The sleeve is too long. I'm going to come back here and I'm going to pull it out this way. I'm not pulling it towards me. This hand, meanwhile, is getting ready to strike him. And he's coming to me. I'm not coming to him. Anybody take my body mechanics class yesterday? You remember doing this? That's what you're doing right now. That's just a stylized version of it. Let me fold this back a little bit so you can see my hands better. So as he comes in, I'm out here, and I'm going to bring him into me. Okay? And I'm going to do a turn and a sink with that, coordinating these 2 actions. Important for this exercise, don't pull the dagger away just because they've made the defense. You're halfway to a counter at that point. Keep it on target as if you were fully committed to that strike, okay? So that we can wind up with this position right here. That one right there. So practice the strike a couple of times. By the way, I will want masks for this. Everybody will wear a mask. Comes in. Okay. Be committed in your strike even when they defend. Don't stop striking just because they defend. And then when they've had a few of those, move into it, stop the dagger. Okay? Don't go for an immediate grab. Just cut into it and break with your arm like that. Okay? From here, this goes out. Okay? Comes back in to the hip like this while you're giving him a hammer fist or starting a throw or any number of other things. Hammer fist for right now. Questions? You've all done this. Just an easy, more medium speed. Okay, right here, Mark doesn't want to be hit in the head. Let's take him down. Okay? Now, it's going to flow like this. He comes in, bam. I'm trying to get him in here. I'm still trying to do this, okay? I'm getting resistance overall. I haven't succeeded in getting there. This arm is going to do this. Okay? This arm goes this way. Okay? I've got that lever there to help me because he's still got a dagger in his hand. If he drops it, fine. Okay, we'll deal with that separately. Okay? I'm going to get this going back, and I'm going to swing around here. I'm going to get the limb control on him, and then I'm going to bring it through. Let's go easy on this one, okay? Okay. So, one, ha! Uh-oh. This goes back, this goes in, and I take it through here. You have to get this broken past the plane of the chest. If you leave it forward, it's not working for you. If you need an extra accrescimento in that situation, you've got it. You can do it right there. Okay? But you're going to lead with the hand when you do it. You're not going to do the accrescimento and then try to push, because then it's arm against arm. So again, whoops, I walked it that time. Sorry. Oh, I know, but that's not what I want to do, actually. You can, it's just not the one I want to demonstrate. Okay. An extra accrescimento, I'm in, I get control, take him down, use the leg if necessary, right there. But let's just get them back here for now. Okay? Everybody see that? Slow. Locked up here. I'm underneath here. I'm making an Allen wrench out of this, and then I'm going to take it through there. Thank you. He's not focusing his strength. That would be over here. And then I'm going to come through, getting the arm, and I'm going to bring him down from there. Okay? So those are the key elements we want to work with. Okay? Strong. Uh-oh. Not strong. Okay? Can you prevent me pushing that back really well? Okay. Let's try it again. Okay? Here I am. He's not going to let me push that back. Okay? Okay, I can push it back. And he's really working it. By the way, he's now weak over here because he's focused on that so much. Okay. So, once more, I am trying to control that thing. Uh-oh. And through. Now let's look at a slightly different but really very similar situation with pair plus swipe across. So, sometimes that's what happens. You're kind of swiping your arm across. So instead of blocking me hard up there, okay, I'm coming in, he passes it right there. And then I take him down and through. Okay? He practically drops it in his elbow. Practically drops it in the elbow. Can everybody see on the sides there? So, same situation. And through here. That should be pretty similar. Just remember you're now passing their hand across, and it goes over top, and you take it through the lock, through the key. Attack me. I don't know if I am getting this, if he's stopping me or passing me. I just don't know. Okay? So he comes in, passes me, I go through here. Okay? My dagger now. Okay? Jason doesn't know whether I'm just taking the hit, whether I'm stopping him, or whether I'm passing him. Okay? Okay, he's going through. That's legitimate. Sorry.
That's not what you wanted.
No, but it's a legitimate play out of Fiora. There's no problem with it at all. Okay? Now, Jason doesn't know what Mark's doing. Notice how slowly we're going? Keep it slow and relaxed, okay? And I'm going to borrow a suggestion from Roland Vorsheka, who said, even as you enter the exercise, move in a relaxed fashion. We're moving in a relaxed fashion. simply that crossing of distance between us. There are various ways we can explore it. I didn't spend a lot of time on that, but in all of these exercises, save for the very first where we actually started off in collar and elbow, in measure, like right in close measure, you have to cross the space to get there. So he has to come at me to get right here. Okay? So I'm going to have to break that in some fashion. And so going into the attack is one way to do it. I could also do it by pulling out of the attack and forcing him to go a little further. Okay? But we're manipulating it in a fairly basic way here. Okay? The tempo of the action I have to keep it. The tempo of the action I have to be in a time that's going to work against his attack. And then we get into control. I need to start controlling the situation and not assuming that I'm going to find something fancy. Dirt simple is usually best. And the initial play here is dirt simple. Okay? But he's blocked it. Okay? So now I have another control issue. I also have a tempo in which I work. This action is momentarily frozen. Okay? Depending on your perception of things, when the steam is up, that moment may be long or short, but it is a frozen moment. Okay? In that moment, he having been the last actor, I generally speaking have a chance to take advantage of that time. Okay? So we're using the initial measure and the breaking of it, control, and then the fact of the tempi, the times that exchange between us, to move from one action to another. We go through. We did that in various ways in the exercises. Daggers down. So again, he's coming in. We've got the measure. Come in on this side. Okay. He's coming into this measure right here. Okay. I'm going to control that. You notice I also broke the measure slightly too. So unlike the last attack, I actually moved a little bit out of it. And the control. Okay. As he resists, go ahead and go for it all the way around. He's taking advantage of that instant of my having acted and needing to flow to another thing, that tempo, to execute his action. And then I take advantage of that in my turn, coming through, to go and drop it. So we're flowing from action to action to action, and you have to feel the times involved between the people. If you rush these things, it all goes to hell really fast. And so you have to work the drills like this just so you can go through full execution of the actions, whether it's the Abrazare. There's his full execution, whatever we choose to put in there. Here's my full execution. His full execution, which is coming against my attempted full execution. And then finally mine. Again, against our attempt to fully execute these actions. And we work within the times of the execution of the other person's action. Questions? I think I'm just barely on schedule here.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
no, I
one
went
question.
quick past.
A few minutes after.
Few minutes.